Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah, Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salamullah, wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of our series on predestination. And predestination refers to what? When we talk about predestination, what are we speaking about? Who can answer that question here? Somebody raised their hand. When we speak about predestination as Muslims, what are we speaking about? Anyone? What are we speaking about when we speak about predestination as Muslims? Anyone? It's a simple question. Anyone? When we are talking about predestination, what are we talking about? Tony? Go ahead, Tony. What are we talking about when we talk about predestination? Just to see if you guys know what predestination is. No one has an answer? Go ahead, it's Sterling. Go ahead, it's Sterling. When we talk about predestination, what are we speaking about? Go ahead.
The afterlife.
The afterlife? Not really. We're not speaking of, that's not really the afterlife. Anyone else can help her, but thank you for trying. When we speak about predestination, what are we speaking about, guys? Not the afterlife. The afterlife is when we die. That's death. That's resurrection. No, we're not speaking about what happens when we die. When we speak about predestination, anyone can help her. What are we speaking about? Sabrine, what are we talking about when we talk about predestination?
What a person is destined to do or what's destined to happen to them in the future.
Exactly. There you go. Predestination deals with what's the unseen, the future. You know, what a person will do in the future. Okay. What's going to happen tomorrow? You hear a lot of non-Muslims ask the question about, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next year? Will I live to see my children grow up? Will I live to be rich? This is predestination. You know, what will happen tomorrow? That's what it basically deals with, your destiny. When you watch those Viking movies or you watch those Peter Pan movies or Disney movies, you know, even Marvel, we all like Thor and Marvel. They always talk about changing your destiny, changing your stars, changing what's going to happen tomorrow, changing the future. That's what predestination deals with. And what does Islam teach us about predestination? Who can answer that? What does Islam teach us about predestination? Just a simple question to see if you guys have been paying attention to my lectures. It's not a hard question, just a basic question. Who can tell us, what does Islam teach us about predestination? Sister Anab, what does Islam teach us about predestination? What does Islam teach us about what's going to happen tomorrow, the future and all of that? Sister Marianne, what does Islam teach about predestination?
It teaches us that our future is already written and our dua can't change it.
Okay, and what else? Okay, it teaches us that our future is already written, but give us more information about that. Written by who, what, where, when, why, how? We need more information. You know, what does it mean? Who can take it in detail? Go ahead, Zarina.
Yes, basically, our dua and everything has been written 50,000 years before even the earth and the heavens were created. So everything is written. We can't change it. When we make dua, that is part of Allah's
Okay,
decree
that's
as
the
well.
dua. Y'all talking about supplication. I want it, everything
Supplication.
in general. Y'all, I don't want y'all to just limit predestination to talking about dua. Well, I mean, I want to know, what is predestination, guys? Is it predestination just talking about your supplication? What is
No, it's
predestination?
everything is written, everything that will happen, that could happen, all Allah knows everything unknown, anything that is possible, Allah knows about it. Allah knows what's in our hearts. I mean, everything is written before it has happened
Okay,
or will
so
happen.
now as a Muslim, you know, you are sitting in a room with a bunch of non-Muslims and they're talking about changing their fate. Oh, do you believe in fate? That's a question that they talk about. Like when I used to work, they used to talk about that in the coffee rooms. What do you guys think about fate? You know, do you believe in fate? Yeah, I believe in fate. Well, what do you believe about fate? Who can answer that? I mean, I want you guys to give a real answer. Don't just, you know, what would you say if a Kafir asked you, do you believe in fate? Anyone, what would you say? You know, if somebody asked you, do you believe in fate? How would you respond? Sister, Brother Murad, how would you respond if somebody asked you if you believed in fate?
I would tell them, yeah, I believe in faith because God has already told us that everything we would do has already been decided and nothing can change it. So
You're right. Yeah, that's better than what the rest of them are saying. Yeah, go on, keep it going.
yeah, and I would tell them that I wouldn't really worry about too much because everything we're gonna do has already been written, the past, present, and future. So yeah, somebody can add on if they want.
That's it. That was better. That's the best answer. The rest of y'all got to come out of this storybook stuff. Y'all, I know a lot of y'all are trying to memorize what I'm saying, what I'm teaching, but no, you don't, it's not about memory. It's putting it in your heart. It's understanding what I'm teaching. So that if a person came to you, like, you can answer like Marard, you know, do you believe in fate? Yeah, I believe in fate. What do you believe? I believe that everything that we do was already written that we would do it. So like he said, he brought a good point up. So just live your life because you're going to do whatever Allah has wrote to be done anyway. You can't run away from fate. We can't hide from fate. We're going to do whatever Allah knew we would do anyway. So just carry on. That's the best answer. You got something to add now, Zarina, that ain't from no storybook memory?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that everything we do, whether we run from something or run to it, is Allah's decree, and also that we have to still make decisions, and our free will. Everything is still Allah's decree, but we are a law that make us do it. So we have to also own up to that our decisions, our efforts are all required to live our lives, but it's still Allah's decree. And we
Okay, what does she mean by that? Okay, this is going to be my next question. Well, since everything is already written that's going to happen, what's the point in us even doing anything? And that's what a Kafir would say to you when you tell them, oh, we believe that everything that we do was already written that we would do it. Allah already knew we would do the things that we do. So he wrote them in a book. And because of the things we do, he's already given us a decision. He's already put his final decision on what's going to happen to us. That's what we believe in fate. Well, since Allah has already given his final decision of where we're going to end up, then what's the point? What's the point in doing anything? Who can answer that? Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Oh, yes, Allah does know what you're going to do, but you make your own choice about where you're going to, like what your actions are going to be. He just knew what you were going to do, but you had your own free will.
So what's the point? You got that. That's what Carter is, yes. But what's the point then? Since Allah already knows and has already decided. Like Amina Fresno asked yesterday, then since it's already known and decided what I'm going to do, what's the point me even trying to do anything good? Why don't I just take off this hijab and say that I'm 80 years old, take off this hijab and going out there and shake my butt and tail feather and drink and party and whatever. What's the point? Since he already wrote, he already know what his decision is in regards to me. So what's the point? What's the point? Who can answer that? Go ahead, Zarina.
I mean, basically, it's still our decision whether
No,
we
I'm
do
asking about the
nothing.
decision. Forget decision. We're past that.
Okay.
Since Allah already knows what our choices will be in life, and because Allah knew what our choices would be, and he's already determined who is damned and who isn't, then what's the point? Why don't I just take off this hijab, go out here and have sex with the man next door, and then go on to a club and just party because my fate has already been determined? Who can answer that? Go ahead, Sister Kadi.
So Allah already knows what we're going to do, but we need to do what's right in order to please him. You know, he has a cloth of arrogance and it only belongs to him. And we need to submit to his will if we want to attain
But you
paradise.
already said that Allah already know if I'm going to submit or not, because he already knows what I'm going to do. And he has already determined whether I'm going to be in hell or not. What's the point? Since he already knew my choices, and he was the judge, he was the jury, and he is the executioner, and has already put in a book 50,000 100 years ago that I'm going to be in hell, then what's the point? Who can answer that? What's the point? Why don't I just take off this hijab and just go party and enjoy my life?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The point is, okay, he knows everything is written down and all that, but he gives us a choice to change whatever we might try to cause or do, if it's wrong or not, even though everything is written in the creed, but we also have a choice in life.
Well, we already said that, man,
I
because
don't know
he
what you
knew
said.
of our
I just got on, so I don't know what
okay,
you said.
listen, because we had a choice, and because Allah knew what our choices would be, he was the judge, he was the jury, he was the executioner, and it's already written down whether I'm going to be in paradise or I'm going to be in hell. What's the point? And this is the same question the companions kept asking. And this was the hardest thing for the prophet to explain. Just like I'm asking y'all the same question that they ask, and y'all can't get it. This took years for the prophet to get them to understand this too. Okay, so what's the point? Since he already knew my choices, he already knew what I was going to do. He knew, and he knew, and he knew, and he wrote it, and he wrote it, and he wrote it, and he said, Layla gonna be in hell, or Layla gonna be in paradise. So since it's already decided, what's the point? Why don't I just take off this hijab and just go out and do like Amina said, just party, have sex? That's what people want to do. Have sex, dance, and drink and get high. Go ahead, Mina. What's the point?
The point is you don't know. So if you don't know, you're going to strive for what you think. So you still make the best out of it. If you feel you're going to go to hell, then you're going to go to hell. So you're going to make the deeds to do whichever you're going to do. So you don't know if you're going to go to paradise or hell, but you're still going to do what's good. So if you don't know and you take off that hijab and you do whatever you do because you don't know, you're just going off of what people were saying if you're going to hell or whatever, but you don't know. So you keep striving to do good, because it's going to, at the ultimate decision is going to be a lot once you get onto Judgment Day. So you don't know. So you still try. Keep trying. Keep trying.
MashaAllah. She understands, Al-Qadr. The rest of y'all don't. And that's how it was with the companions. It took the prophet years and years to get Abu Bakr, Umar. And that's why y'all see all them hadiths I put up yesterday. I put up about 7 hadiths where different companions, Umar and all the other, they kept asking over and over and over again. And then finally they got it. She got it. What's the point? The point is, Allah already knew, but you don't. But guess what? If you are a person of hell, your life is going to show it. If you a person of hell, then you will take off that hijab. Then you'll go out and have sex. You will drink. You're not a real believer. And like I was telling you guys last night, you know, if any woman that's over the age of 70 that wants to take her hijab off, that means you have hypocrisy in your heart. That's a sign that you're a hypocrite, because the believers have no desire. They fear Allah too much to want to sin. You're going to do the deeds that's going to take you wherever you end up anyway. So what's the point? The point is, live your life, like Brother Merard said. Live your life. Because you're going to do the deeds that's already written anyway. Just carry on. And since you guys know how it works, the unbelievers don't understand, Carter. But since Mina does, Mina's going to think twice before she commit a sin. Because she knows she's going to ask herself, was this written for me? Oh my God, I don't want it to be written that I'm going to be drinking. I ain't drinking no alcohol. That'll make you think twice. Does everybody get it? Do you get it, Zarina? Do you get it, Kadi?
Yes.
Only one that got it is Mina, and that's normal. I figured just one person would get it. And if I could get one person to understand it, then that's a big accomplishment, because it took the prophets years to get the companions to understand it.
So what is the answer? We just keep trying because we don't want, we fear for,
no, the answer is just live your life like she said. What's the point? The point is it's already known. So just carry on. If you a believer, you're going to strive to do the good deeds because you know how Carter works. But if you an unbeliever, you're going to do like some of them other hypocrites did and say, well, I don't get it. I'm just going to take off this hijab and go party, screw, and everything else. Carry on. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Just live your life. All we have to know as Muslims is what El Carter is. The basics. Trying to think about it too much, trying to break it down too much. This is what the prophet told the companions. This is how they finally got it. He said, stop asking me, stop asking me, stop asking me, because you don't get it. You're making it hard on yourself. Just carry on. Just live your life. Do what you want to do. Because if you're a believer, you're going to want to do good. If you're a hypocrite, you're going to want to do evil. Do you understand? If you're a believer, you're going to do the things that's going to take you to paradise. But if you don't believe in Allah, you're going to do the other stuff. So that's what he basically can end up telling them. Just carry on. And then they got it. When they stopped pondering over it, they said, now I get it. Now we see what the prophet meant, because I'm praying and I'm doing my duties, but that person over there ain't doing his. So that person over there is doing what's going to take him to hell, because in his heart, he don't believe. And that's the problem. A lot of us say we believe in Allah, but we don't. Like we was having this conversation yesterday on the Zoom room. You know, a lot of Muslim women are looking for excuses to take off their hijab and get naked. If you are a Muslim woman and you are not happy in that hijab like I am, I know I'm the most beautiful thing. I have never shown my hair since I was 6 years old. I love my hijabs. Y'all see how I wear them, and I know I look good in them. I'm proud and I love my hijab. There is no, Allah knows there is no desire in my heart at all to look like Cardi B. I think Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce are prostitutes. They look like nothing but trailer trash prostitutes to me. They are the most horrid women. They gotta get naked and show them nasty big butts with stretch marks to think that they beautiful. They gotta put them weaves in their hair and let their hair hang down to the ground to make them think that they're beautiful. I have no desire for that in my heart. I love wearing these beautiful abayas. I love wearing the beautiful colored bling bling hijabs to match. And when I walk out the house, I look better than Cardi B. Cardi B looks like a hoe. You know, there is no desire. And I'm 61 years old. I have no desire at all to take off this hijab. But there are some Muslim women, even here in our Zoom room, who are 60, 70, 80, and they want to get naked. They look for an excuse. We was listening to a lecture yesterday where one of the brothers was talking about the importance of the hijab. And he was saying, which is a fact, something that I discuss with y'all, and we go through this every Ramadan, the people for whom the pen is lifted and all that. You know, he said now, a woman now, the woman is 70 or 80. But that hadith doesn't mean it's based on age, because I'm 60 and I look better than a lot of you 20-year-olds. My mother is 80. She looks better than a lot of you 20-year-olds. When the prophet talks about that, now we talked about past childbearing years. That doesn't mean because I can't have a baby. It doesn't mean because I'm 60 or I'm 70. It means that you are so old, so dried up and senile, that if you were to take off your clothes and walk out the door naked, no man would desire you in no way. A man would look at you and say, oh my God, mother, look at that old lady. Oh, somebody help that woman and put some clothes on her. That's what it means in Arabic. It's not about an age. But a lot of you Muslim women like to think that it means, oh, I'm over 60, so I can get naked. That means you have hypocrisy in your heart. And we were talking about that. You will never be a true believer, guys, until you love what Allah loves. And you honestly hate what Allah hates. Allah hates naked women. He hates Cardi B looking women. He hates Beyonce looking women. Until you hate that too, you have hypocrisy in your heart. If you are 70, 80 years old and still want to go out like a young girl and bust a leg, then something wrong with you. Because at 70 and 80 years old, you should be preparing for the grave. Because you got 2 feet in the grave. You know, it ain't about sex and all that stuff at that age. You should be past that. At 70 years old, at 80 years old, a woman should have her desires in sync. You shouldn't be like a dog wanting to copulate. It's disgusting. Allah hates that, and I do too. And until you women hate it, you got hypocrisy in you. Now you want to go out and get naked and be a Cardi B and drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. You better check yourself. You better check your Aqidah, because at your age, you should be past that. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't enjoy sex with your husband. I'm just saying you should be past being like a dog, an animal. You should have mastered control over your desires at that age. You should have mastered control over your soul at that age. Your soul, your jinn should be in your hand at that age, where you shouldn't be clinging on to the life of this world still. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Do you old women, Anissa, Sabrine, do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It doesn't mean that we don't enjoy sex. If I got married, I would enjoy sex like any 20-year-old would. But I'm in control. I'm single for 20 years. I'm past that. I don't get turned on. I don't want to go out and drop it like it's hot. That stuff is reserved. But when I get married, I'm in control of my desires. I'm in control of my emotions. I'm past that. When I was 20, yeah, man, I'm 61. My gin is sitting in a corner with a dunce cap on. Now, if I get married, I'll drop it with him. But do you think it's a desire in me to get naked and go out in the street? Are y'all crazy? You women better check yourselves. Like we talked about in that class about the resurrection. Some of us, when we get old, the signs of a good and bad ending, you gravitate to that which is important to you. If you 60, 70, 80 years old and you gravitating towards wanting to drop it like it's hot, that's a sign there's something wrong with you, that you too attached to the dunya. You should be gravitated to learning al-Fatiha, how to pronounce the Fatiha correctly, how to recite el-Tashahud. You should be perfecting your soul. That's what you do at that age. And drop it with your man, your husband, your legal man. Everybody understand that? You women better get it together. And I'm talking to y'all on Facebook too, all women in America, especially African-American women in America over the age of 40, y'all better get control of your desires and control of your gene. There's a time for this and a time for that. Over the age of 40 is not the time to be dropping it like it's hot and wanting to go out in the street and to the clubs and take off that hijab and be Britney and put a ring on it. Honey, that's not the time. Them days are long gone. Everybody understand that? All right, so that's what that means. When the prophet told the companions, just carry on, just do the best you can. When they stopped asking about El-Qadr and started just living their life, fighting in the battles and doing, and then it finally hit them. They said, this is what the prophet meant. We're doing the deeds that Allah knew we would do. And inshallah, our outcome will be good. But look at that brother over there. He knows about Qadr too. But look at him. He's killing himself. Look at that one over there. He's hooking up with Musaylima. Don't want to pray. He's doing the deeds that Allah knew he would do to take him to hell. That's when it hit. And that's all we need to know about El-Qadr, guys. Everything was already written. And if you are a person of paradise, your life, like I tell y'all, your life will be a reflection of it. If you are a person that's, inshallah, headed towards paradise, a person can look at your life. She prays, she practices her religion, she stays in her house. That's important. Stay in your home, especially for women, because women are weaker than men. Men age with dignity more than women do. You don't hear that many 70, 80-year-old men talking about going out in the club, dropping it like it's hot. You don't hear that from them. It's the women. That's why Allah says your home is better for you. You sisters better tie y'all behinds to your computer at home and stay out the streets, because the streets are calling you. And instead of you aging with dignity, you're aging disgracefully because you don't want to accept who you are, an older woman who should know better. You're not 20. Okay? So your home is better for you. If you lived your life at home, doing the deeds that Allah is pleasing, and you meet a good ending, you die in a state of dignity. Everything we do as Muslims is done with dignity and humbleness. You die in a dignified state, and in a humble state, that's a good ending. You think dying in a club is dignified? Dying in a car accident, coming back from a nightclub? And what's the dignity in that? in a nightclub trying to drop it like it's hot and somebody bust a cap in your behind? Seriously, is that dignity? Think about it. Okay, let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen today because this is what I want to take us to. But do y'all understand, Connie? Do you understand what that means now? Zarina, just live your life because you're going to do the deeds. It's going to take you wherever you're going to end up anyway. You understand, Connie? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to break it down more with today's PowerPoint because I don't want y'all to get too confused. Exactly, Pamela. Be proud. That's the thing. Islam teaches us. This is what makes the Muslim woman different than a Kafir woman or a hypocrite. We age with dignity. Everything we do is dignified. Because in Islam, age represents wisdom. What do you guys think the word sheikh means? Sheikh does not mean scholar. Sheikh means an old wise man who's aged with dignity. What does the Arabic word sheikha mean? Sheikha does not mean scholar. Sheikha means an older woman who has aged with wisdom and dignity. That's a title of respect. It doesn't mean that you're a scholar. It means you are a respectable, dignified elder. My brother, one of my brothers, two of my brothers call me Sheikha. And it's not because of being a scholar, it's because I'm older than them and I've aged with dignity. Sheikha, that's a compliment. This old wise sister, Sheikha Layla. That's a title of respect. So age in Islam symbolizes wisdom and respect. And we are proud to say I'm 60. You should be proud to say I'm 70. And you are still a 60, 70, 80-year-old with dignity and respect. It's an honor. If Allah wishes good for a person, he gives them a long life because he knows that the one thing that we fear is death. So the fact that you 60, the fact that you 70, that you're 80 years old, that's a sign that Allah loves you. So you should be proud to say I'm 70 and I'm still wearing hijab. I'm still praying. One thing about my mother, she's 85 years old. My mother is 85. And she's proud to say, I'm still wearing hijab. I'm still making my prayers. And my mother still fasts during Ramadan, even though she had cancer. She's so proud of that because she knows that that's a sign that Allah loves her, that she must be doing something good. Allah has extended her life and still given her the ability to fulfill her obligations. Because the older we get, it gets harder. I can't even fast. I have to break my fast because of my sicknesses. My mother had cancer and still fasts the whole month of Ramadan. She run rings around me. If I try to fast, I have GERD attacks. Y'all see me in my videos GERDing. Because I got to have that water, otherwise everything comes up through my esophagus. My mother had cancer and that treatment and stuff, still sitting around fasting. SubhanAllah, that's a sign that Allah is happy. That's dignity. So we're proud to be old as women in Islam. We're proud to be Sheikha. Sheikha is a title of respect. It doesn't mean scholar. It means elderly, wise woman of dignity and respect. Okay. All right. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Good job, Sister Sakina. Exactly. And you look good too. And the same thing. And the thing is too, when you're 60 and 70, like Sakina saying, we look good. My God, people can't even guess our age. They think, oh, that's the light that Allah puts on the face of the believer. You can't even guess our age. 61 and proud and look, I look just like, people be like, you're 61? Even here, the light. My videos, you still see that light. I don't care what I do, you still see the light. And it ain't fake because it's my hands, my arms, everything. That light of the believer. It's upon you. Y'all better get over that dunya. All right, let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen and get busy here. And by the way, guys, this is the Qadr of Allah. And this is, just so y'all remember, in fact, Sabrine usually keeps up with what number it is for me. And she gave me, this is session 6. Today, we're going to speak about predestination. Session 6, and today I'm going to go over what I'm talking about now. There are certain limitations that Allah set for us when it comes to speaking or asking questions about the Qadr of Allah, because a lot of us, it's going to take time to understand it. Like I said, it took the companions time to understand it. They kept asking so many questions, and finally the Prophet told them, look, don't ask no more. Just live your life. Do what the best you can do. And then it'll hit you. And it hit them. Because we're going to do what is written for us to do anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the limitations that we have when it comes to discussing the Qadr. Okay, all we need to understand is this. These are the principles that we're going to be held accountable for not knowing when we're in that grave. First of all, you need to know that number one, it's obligatory to believe in predestiny. We have to believe in it. It's one of the pillars of faith. Also, with regard to understanding and defining its limits and dimensions, we have to rely on the Quran and the Sunnah, and we cannot try to rationalize. And this is what you hear when you go to some of those other chat programs. I see these Muslims, these are Arabic people. They have these PhDs in psychology and philosophy. They try to rationalize, what predestiny is. We can't do that because Allah tells us that as humans, we are not capable of forming guidelines that will keep us from going astray on this issue. And people who sit around arguing and debating, predestiny, these are people who are lost. They're unbelievers. So we don't argue. That's why the Prophet said, this is what led the people before you astray. We do not argue and debate this. We just say we believe in it, and we believe everything Allah told us to believe in it, and we let it go because a human ain't capable of taking it any further. So we have to avoid discussing what this entails in depth, because not everyone can comprehend it. Like here in my Zoom room, all the 40-some people in here, only one person could break it. Well, two, Merard and Mina were the only two that grasped what predestiny entails. Why should we even try? Those are the only two that could answer. Was Mina. She did an excellent job. She understands this very well. And Brother Merard. Okay. Also, Islam gives us guidelines to adhere to when it comes to believing in the Qadr of Allah. All we have to remember is, number one, Allah knew everything that would be, so he wrote it in his book. Also, Allah created everything to happen. That's why it happens. And also, everything happens because Allah wanted it to. That's it. That's the guidelines. That's it. Trying to take it further, if it becomes confusing, just stop. Everybody understand that? For those people who try to look for the secret behind predestination, and for those people like we see on those club programs, I have right now, there's about 6 rooms on the club in Arabic. Dr. Asim in one, he's trying to teach them what I'm teaching y'all to stop that nonsense. These Arabs, they try to take it further. This is a waste of intellectual energy to attempt to understand how Allah knew what he knows. To attempt to understand how Allah wrote anything in his book, to attempt to understand how Allah created, this is impossible because we as humans will never be able to understand the attributes of Allah that way. Allah teaches us to try to incorporate his attributes into ourselves, but don't try to figure him out. How Allah knew, how Allah wrote, how Allah created, this is all part of the unseen world. We are required as Muslims, like Dr. Asim is trying to tell those Arabs, we are required to believe in this stuff, but we are not allowed to ask about the nature of it or the essence. Y'all understand? That's why the Prophet said, if you start having questions about how did Allah know what we would do? How did Allah write it in his book? How did Allah create something? Say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, because that is your jinn trying to take you out of Islam. The people who ask about these things, they're no different than a person who will ask, how did Allah rise over his throne? Okay, all this stuff leads to bid'ah, to innovation, to heresy and disbelief. So if you find yourself trying to figure it out too deeply, say A'udhu billahi and just understand. Al-Qadr means believing that everything happens because Allah meant it to happen. That's it. Allah is the creator of good and evil. Allah knows what we're gonna do before we even do it. That's it. All this other stuff, how, what, why, don't worry. And even the scholars have defined the limits beyond which it is not permissible to go when discussing. For example, Ibn Hajar, he said the way to understand this matter is to stop at what Allah tells us in the Quran and what the Prophet has said. Never refer to analogy. Never try to use logic and your own reasoning. Whoever is not content to stop will be misled and will be lost in a sea of confusion and will not find anything that will put his mind to rest, because predestination is one of the secrets that belongs to Allah and which is known only to him. Allah has put a veil around it and he has concealed this knowledge from the minds of man or anything else. So just understand the basics that I've taught you. But when you keep finding yourself saying, why should I even try? Why should I even try? Say, A'udhu billahi, and just live your life. Like I told you all day, just carry on. Because you're going to do where you're going to end up anyway. Your deeds will be a reflection of where you end up anyway. Another one of the early scholars said, it is not proper for the Muslim to ask in depth about the matter of predestiny, because predestiny is one of the secrets of Allah. It's obligatory to believe in it, the good and the evil. But that's it, guys. Don't sit there asking who, what, where, when, how, because you're going to end up misguided. And also Imam Ahmed and Imam Hanbal, they both said it is part of the well-known Sunnah to believe in the decree of Allah, both the good of it and the bad, and to accept all the hadiths on this topic and believe in them. But as far as asking who, what, where, when, how, let it go. Do y'all get that? Does everybody understand that? If it really bothers you as to what's the point in striving, just say A'udhu billahi and let it go. Carry on. Like the Prophet told him in that last hadith I gave y'all yesterday. He said, just let it go. Just do the best you can. You can't understand it now. Just do the best you can, because you're going to do the deeds that's going to take you where you end up anyway. Don't try to figure it out. Don't put too much thought in it, because shaitan, your jinn, is going to take you out with it. Some people can grasp it like Mina and Morar did, but most people can't. Okay, that's just how it is. Also, those who discuss, when we talk about predestination, our discussion should only be limited to these things here. Number one, like we've been doing, how Allah creates the deeds of his slaves, even though the deeds in fact stem from us. What does that mean? Allah knew what we would do, but he didn't jump in our body and make us do it. He just knew what you would do. Allah knew that you would commit a sin. He also knew that you would feel bad about it and repent. And he knew that after you repent, you would make a donation to the website. Allah created the donation. Allah created the actions that we do, but he didn't make us do it. That decision we made on our own with that gift known as free will that we took upon ourselves. Okay? So we have to believe that. And also that Allah already knows what we're going to do and how Allah, we are obligated. Even though Allah already knows what routes we're going to take in life, even though Allah already knows what actions we're going to do in life, we still have to strive. That means just carry on. Just carry on. You don't just lock yourself up in a castle and say, I'm just going to starve myself and die because it's already written. Well, guess what? That was written too. You're going to end up in hell like that man that took his life. Suicide. Okay, and also it entails knowing that Allah is the executioner and he gave the final judgment. He already knows who of us will be in paradise and who of us will be in hell. Allah has his awliya, his allies. Some of us are closer to Allah than others. Some of us are enemies to Allah. He already knows who his enemies are. He already knows who his awliya are. These are the things we're supposed to discuss and nothing more. Everybody understand that? Nothing more but these four things here, which is what we're doing. And like I tell you guys, in order to truly understand predestination, you have to understand your purpose. Why is it that Sister Mina was able to answer that question so well? That shows that she understands her purpose in life. That shows that she understands what she was created to do. Mina knows she was created to worship Allah. Mina knows she was put here on this earth to prove to Allah every day that she believes in him. Mina also knows her responsibilities as a wife, her responsibilities as a mother. She has children that she's raising. Her children come to the school here. Her children have pencils, papers, they're learning. And they go to the mosque, they're learning. She understands her purpose in life. She understands her role as a woman. She understands her role as a student of knowledge too. But most of us don't. So that's why she could answer better than anyone, because she understands her purpose. Remember, Allah says in the interpretation of meaning, I created the jinn and men to worship me. Mina knows that. She knows that everything she encounters in life is a test. When two of her brothers were died, one was gunned down and her other one was died in a car accident. She knew that that was Allah's way of testing her. Then a month later, her nephew dying. And then a month after that, her cousin. She knows that, well, I was created to worship Allah. And Allah is going to subject me through tests. She understands that Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, do you think that you will be left without being punished or rewarded? She knows Allah is going to test her with the things she loves the most. And what does Mina love? She loves her family. She loves her mother, her siblings, her nieces. These people are close. She belongs to a close family. So Allah is going to test her with those things she loved the most. Also, Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, and we have sent you, Muhammad, as a mercy for all mankind and jinn. Mina knows. She knows that when it comes to a mentor in life, a guide in life, she doesn't choose these women and men that many of y'all do on the internet. Her mentor is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She's always looking to see, how did the Prophet handle himself? How did the companions handle their selves? She even asked me questions. What did Aisha do, Sister Layla? How did the Prophet handle this? She knows that the Prophet Muhammad is our mentor. And again, Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, did you think that we created you in play without a purpose and that you won't be brought back to us? Mina is a good looking woman. Y'all see her pictures? Good looking woman. She ain't trying to drop it like it's hot. She proud of her hijab. She placed a picture on Facebook saying, whatever you do it with dignity. And she's covered from A to Z. Ain't nothing un-Islamic about the way she looked. She knows that she was created with a purpose. And she had her daughter right there with her, also covered the way she's supposed to be covered at her age. Hello! She's teaching her daughter to be proud, to be Muslim, to understand that even though you are covered, you look better than any of those Kafir girls. Ain't no Cardi B, Nicki Minaj got nothing on that baby, Tahira. Tahira's a bad, shut your mouth, in her hijab and her baggy trousers, her baggy jumpsuit with that beautiful rapper smile. Hello, from Grandma Fresno. Hello, who's still trying to drop it like it's hot. So alhamdulillah, that's why Mina could answer those questions. She knows her purpose. And that's what I tell all the rest of you too, to understand predestiny in more depth. You have to first of all understand your purpose, why you were created, what your mission is supposed to be, what your role is supposed to be in life as a mother, a daughter, a student, and all of that, a wife. When all that stuff starts clicking, then you'll be like the companions. Oh, wow, this is what the Prophet meant. But until that happens, just carry on. Just do the best you can do, because you're going to end up where you're going to end up anyway. All right, I'm going to stop right here for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Any questions?